So what I'm going to do today, guys, we're going to start with a little bit of review. We've covered a lot of stick and daggers so far, and we've got this week and next week to get at least to some abecedario category, and then try to do some more interactive drills, disarms, and things like that, which are also essential. So what I would like you to do is we'll start back to the very basic. If you remember the first day, you strike an inward and you thrust. You strike a horizontal and you thrust. Strike an uppercut and you thrust. You go vertical down and thrust. Then you go 1, 2 and thrust. Uppercut, 2 and thrust. We'll just get that far. So it's an inward and a thrust. Horizontal, thrust. Upward and a thrust. Vertical down and thrust. 1, 2 and thrust. 1, 2 uppercut and thrust. Inward, thrust. Horizontal, thrust. Uppercut, thrust. Vertical down, thrust. 1, 2 and thrust. 1, 2 and thrust. So these first four cover handling their dagger. So what we're doing is we're playing with different ways to handle the dagger hand over here. So one is a diagonal, one is a horizontal, one is upward, and one is vertical down. Every time you hit one of those, we thrust in behind it. So it's inward, thrust, horizontal, thrust, uppercut, thrust, vertical down, thrust, 1 and 2 thrust, 3 and 4 thrust. Now add your one side to the X. You go up the line, down the line, and thrust. Down the line, up the line, and thrust. Inward, thrust, horizontal, thrust, uppercut, thrust, vertical down, thrust, 1, 2 thrust, uppercut, 2 thrust, up the line and down the line, thrust, down the line and up the line, thrust, inward, thrust, horizontal, thrust, upward, thrust, vertical down, thrust, 1, 2 and thrust, uppercut, 2 and thrust, up and down one line, down and up the other line, back to it, you guys, inward, thrust, horizontal, thrust, uppercut, thrust, vertical down, thrust, 1, 2, thrust, uppercut, 2, thrust, 1, 2, thrust, downward, 2 and thrust. Last time through, I'll give you some rhythm. Inward, thrust, horizontal, thrust, upward, thrust, vertical down, thrust, 1, 2 and thrust, 3, 4 and thrust, down, up the line and down the line, and then down the line, up the line. So just to repeat, those first four are basically the ways you're going to handle their dagger hand. So you're going to hit it downward like that, you're going to hit it horizontal, you're going to hit it from the upward line, or you're going to go vertical down. And we put a thrust behind every one of those. The X formula is to teach you that when the stick does a backhand motion, it is clearing the way for the dagger to thrust. So whether you come in an upward direction, you're clearing the way for this thing to thrust. Whether you come in a downward direction, you're clearing the way and you're clearing the way. So that's the formula. 1 inward and 1 thrust. Horizontal and 1 thrust. Uppercut and thrust. Vertical down and thrust. Inward backhand and thrust. Uppercut backhand and thrust. One side of an X on this side. Other side of the X on that side. All right, let's go, guys. I'll give you a minute or so. Just start moving around, shuffle your feet. I did not set a footwork, so footwork is up to you.